My name is Danilo, and I was living with my dad in an old, creaking two-bedroom house on the edge of a rough neighborhood in 2003. When something followed us home that we could never fully explain, we were used to moving. My dad was a good man, hardworking in his own way, but he never got along with authority. So jobs came and went, and so did our homes. We dragged the same half-unpacked boxes from place to place like ghosts of our past, stacked in corners, labeled but rarely opened. When he found this house for just $300 a month, he thought he'd struck gold, a detached garage, enough space for the two of us and close to his new job. The landlord only gave us one strange warning. Someone had died in the house within the last 5 years? My dad shrugged. To him, death was just another part of life, and cheap rent mattered more than old stories. The moment we stepped inside, though, the house felt different. It wasn't just old, it felt occupied, as if we were intruding on someone who never agreed to leave. At first, it was small things. A drawer sliding open when we were in another room. A bathroom faucet turning on by itself in the middle of the night, then shutting off like nothing happened. Doors slowly swinging back and forth even when the windows were closed. Footsteps creaking above us when no one was upstairs. We joked that the house just had personality, but deep down we both knew something was off. The front door made things even stranger. It had a keyhole on both sides, meaning if it was locked, you needed a key to get in and a key to get out. It made the house feel like a trap, secure, but also inescapable without permission. About a week after moving in, while we were still buried in boxes, the keys vanished. My dad, already stressed from work and unpacking, exploded in frustration, accusing me of hiding them. He was pacing the living room, voice raised, when suddenly the keys dropped onto the floor right in front of the couch with a sharp metallic clink. No one threw them. No one touched them. They simply appeared as if the house had gotten tired of his yelling and decided to hand them back. From that night on, the keys became the house's favorite game. Every evening, my dad placed them carefully in a glass bowl on top of our old tube TV before bed. Every morning they were somewhere else, sometimes on the kitchen counter, sometimes near the sink, once even inside. A sealed box of pots and pans shoved through the tiny handle hole like someone had deliberately slipped them in out of spite. We laughed about it at first, treating it like a prank, but the humor faded as the nights grew darker. Then came the stomping, around 2 or 3 a.m., almost like clockwork. Heavy footsteps would pace back and forth in the hallway outside our bedrooms. They weren't random, they were slow, deliberate, and too heavy for any person our size. It sounded like something patrolling, back and forth, never stopping. I would lie in bed frozen, staring at my door, waiting for the footsteps to pass, praying they wouldn't come closer. One night, exhausted and terrified, I snapped. I sat up in bed and screamed into the darkness, "Stop stomping around, I need to sleep." For a few seconds, the house felt eerily silent, and then all hell broke loose. I heard a sudden, violent rush of movement, like something charging straight toward my room, and then 3 brutal slams crashed against my door, shaking the walls. My heart felt like it was going to burst. I couldn't move. I could barely breathe. Da. My dad called out from his room. "You okay, buddy?" His voice sounded worried but distant. I tried to answer, but nothing came out. My body started shaking uncontrollably, my stomach twisting in pure terror. Somehow I forced myself out of bed and ran toward the bathroom, but I didn't make it. My body betrayed me halfway down the hallway. My dad found me crying on the toilet, shaking and humiliated, and I told him everything through tears. That night he hugged me and said, "If you ever feel scared again, just come sleep in my room. Nothing can hurt you when I'm around." A week later, that promise was put to the test. My dad's girlfriend had been staying over more often, and one night they had a small argument about chores before bed. The tension hung in the air as they turned off the lights. Around 2:30 a.m., she woke up because something had grabbed her ankle. At first, she thought she was dreaming, until she felt herself being yanked off the bed and dragged across the floor toward the hallway. She screamed, and whatever had hold of her released instantly. Shaking, she ran back into the bedroom, flicked on the lights, and told my dad everything in a panic. The next morning, my dad sent me to stay with my aunt while he packed up the house alone. He didn't want me there anymore, not with whatever was inside those walls. Over the next few months, friends came by to help him move, and almost every single one of them mentioned seeing the same thing when they first walked in. a small white dog wandering through the house. We never owned a dog. We never even had pets. Even now, years later, I still think about that place, about the footsteps. The keys, the door slams, and that invisible presence that seemed to grow bolder the longer we stayed. Sometimes late at night, I wonder if anyone living there now hears the same, stomping in the hallway, or if whatever was there finally found peace, or found someone else. And then there's the memory that still gives me chills. My dad's girlfriend's yoga ball. I was 8, playful and curious, rolling it back and forth down the hallway with her. At one point, I tossed it gently toward her, and the ball stopped midair, completely still, before slowly rolling back to me on its own. She went pale and immediately said she didn't want to play anymore. At the time, I didn't understand. Now, I wish I still didn't.